unfortunately had some folks leave, so there's plenty of seats. Everybody come up and grab a spot. As we head back in, I do want to take a moment to thank our sponsors tonight, starting with Creative Oklahoma for being our parent nonprofit. Creative Oklahoma is a statewide nonprofit organization advancing Oklahoma's economy through creativity and innovation-based initiatives in education, commerce, and culture. Here's one everybody can give a toast to. Thanks to Anthem Brewery for all the great beer tonight. Yes, absolutely. Anthem very generously donates all of the beer to our Pechakucha night events. And so all we ask is that you please pay it forward next time you're out in the town. Choose an Anthem beer to enjoy with your meal. And lastly, I want to say thanks to Plenty Mercantile for hosting us tonight. And I'd like to introduce one of Plenty's founders, Brittany Matlock, to tell us a bit more.
Thank you guys so much for coming. I was actually the first speaker at the first Pechakucha in Oklahoma City. So I've done it, it's hard, but it's super rewarding. So thank you so much to our speakers. I know it's a ton of time and a ton of energy, and you guys are busy, but everyone here really appreciates it. So my name is Brittany Matlock. I am partners with Tracy Walton in Plenty. She's my mom, so we go way back. And then we have an amazing team that keeps our heads above the water. So a lot of you are super familiar faces, and we are honored to have you again. But a lot of people are new, we've noticed. So I want to tell you a little bit about Plenty and some new programming we have going on. So a lot of you are familiar with the venue. So you can rent the warehouse or the rooftop or both spaces together. And then starting in January, Plenty will be offering its own in-house catering services. So if you like the spread back there, we will be offering something similar to that. And of course, every single one will be a little bit different. We're also offering in-house curated bar service starting in January. And then with the store, as many of the speakers have said, we believe business can change the world. And we have a triple bottom line of people, profit, and planet. So every single product that comes through our doors has been vetted. We do our homework. We make really hard decisions because there's a lot of really key stuff out there. We do our homework so that you don't have to. So every dollar that goes to our business is voting for change, voting for good. So celebrating people making good decisions and really hard choices. And then some people are unfamiliar that we have a second location now in Edmond at 15th and Bryant. So much of the same merchandise. It doesn't have a venue, however, but it's been really fun up there. Well, you guys holler if you need anything. My name's Brittany, and I also wanted to point out that Chris Fox has joined our Pechakucha team, and we're super excited because now I don't have to MC, now he does. And then Tyler Holmes is the guy behind the computer. We couldn't do this without you guys, so thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Brittany, and thanks to the whole Plenty team for making us feel at home here every Pechakucha night. We really, really appreciate it. So now back to the presentations. We have 3 more to go, and they are sure to drive us home with some great inspiring content. Let's start with Daniel Che, who is the CEO of Che Hospitality Group, which includes establishments such as Che Modern Korean, Urban Eats at Tower Theater, and All About Cha in OKC. Since serving as the president of the National Honor Society at Moore High School, Daniel has maintained a commitment to service and community. Not only has he served as an AmeriCorps Vista, run for public office, and led his businesses to give back to their communities, but he continues to serve on local community boards, such as the OKC chapter of the Awesome Foundation and the OKC Social Services Board. Daniel and his wife, Shanae, are also the proud parents of Gabriel, Madeline, and Claire. Help us welcome Daniel Che.
Hi guys, thank you for having me. Who doesn't love a good origin story? So today I'm just going to give you a brief little synopsis of what I went through, how did I get here, all that crazy stuff. So yeah, enjoy. So this is the IBC Bank building over on Northwest Expressway. I wanted to start off with this picture because my mom used to work here, and I was really proud of this gigantic building that she worked at. But she was the day maid here. I didn't know what that really meant as a kid. But she moved on to become a hair salon owner and a cafe owner, because she's my partner. And just a testament to how ridiculously awesome she is and moving like all as an entrepreneur. I didn't think I was going to be like that. I was perfectly happy in my life as a human services specialist working on housing and homelessness issues. So I did that for about 10 years. I was at the height of my career. We won awards from the National HUD group, also from the National United Way. But you know, I was going to stick and do that forever. But life is weird, and life has a way of stretching me and silly buddy. About 5 years ago, in the spring of 2013, a very good business mentor of mine, after struggling with bipolar disorder, committed suicide. In that same day, I got a call, crazy amount of phone calls asking me if my mom was okay while I was in Michigan. Sorry, I was in Michigan the whole time. Everyone in my group of friends know that my entire family, my mother's side, my uncle's family, my aunt's family, and my grandmother all live off of Bryant. And this was in May 2013. Everybody called me out to see if everybody was okay. So I was an emotional wreck in Michigan. And something about being an emotional wreck, and as you come out of therapy, and hours and hours of therapy, you find out a little bit more about yourself, that you're stronger than you think you were, and your emotional range broadens. So, on that note, my kids and I, we decided to move to Oklahoma and started a whole career of trying to say yes to life, yes to everything. That started off with saying yes to my parents, asking me to come back and run All About Cha, the first one in Oklahoma City on Indian Hills. We killed it, it was great, we did a lot of great work. And just recently, I sold it, or not sold it, I closed it and rebranded it after 5 years. At the same time, as All About Cha was opening up, John Rex was opening up as well, and they were asking parents to join and be part of their PTA. They needed board of trustees, and I said. And I ran to become their first secretary, and we started this whole process of opening up John Rex. At the same time, All About Cha had a lot of different people talking about really great projects. People were saying, oh, you know, we should do this thing and that. You know, that's kind of what happens at a cafe, people think stuff up. And so I said, okay, that's awesome, people should help fund that. And so I founded the Oklahoma City chapter of the Awesome Foundation. We funded some really great projects that helps to, you know, ask and have really amazing people. Basically, 10 of us get together, we chip in $100, make a $1,000 cash grant, no questions asked, we just give it out to whoever we think is awesome. We had some really great people. Michael Winger went on to become the GM of the LA Clippers, and so that was a really good group of people. I bring that up because we're going to try to bring it back in a couple of months too. At the same time, when things were calming down, this was about year 2 being back in Oklahoma. A friend of mine said that there were a building available on this weird side of 23rd Street. All I knew is that I wanted to share at the hardest time of my life. In that spring of 2013, all I had was a kimbap and a pint of beer. Kimbap is a traditional dish, and I was like, I just need to spread the feeling that you get when you eat it. So we created a restaurant, and to our surprise, it did really well. We won a crap ton of different kinds of awards. My favorite being the one in the top right. We won an award just because the Gailey wanted to just hang out there. It was great. At the same time, at year 3, this is all in 5 years I've been here, I said yes to love again, and the 3 of us, the party of 3 became a party of 4. My wife, Shanae, is much cooler than I am. She should really be a speaker here. She'd actually designed her own dress. She's a fashion designer in New York and decided to come here. Shortly after marriage, good friends of mine bought the Tower building. It was really run down. They're like, we're trying to do something about community development. Can you do something in 900 square feet? They lied. It was 890 square feet. But we squeezed it in. We just thought we'd bring over the best dishes over, be part of building a community ecosystem. Every step of the way, it's just been like, that's what can we do to build a community. The restaurants were sort of on autopilot, so I was asked to join the city's, Oklahoma City's Continuing Care Grant Committee. City Care, shout out to you guys for always being ranked really high in the Oklahoma Alliance. At the same time, oh my gosh, so I just kept saying yes to everything. People were saying, we need people to run for office. I was like, okay, yeah, let's do it. So I ran for county treasurer. It's crazy. you know, half the time you're talking to people's hopes, their struggles, their desires for a better community. The other time you're in a bug eating contest. Yeah, no. But you know, at the same time, people are like, oh, what's it like to run for office? It's a lot like having a baby or starting a business. And in our case, we did all three at the exact same time. So, Carla was born 2 months ago, on September 27th. Her birthday is actually the same day that we opened up Chit Cafe, which is in the old All About Shop spot in Nichols Hills. We didn't plan it. My wife was not happy with me. But something about all these things, every single step of the way, I mean, this exasperated. And I'm not trying to say that all these things were successes. I actually lost the county treasurer. We closed CHOP, All About CHOP, turned it to Che. We sold the Che building. All these things in a creative process were really tough. They're challenges, but one of my favorite sayings is that, you know, there is no creativity without destruction, right? And so that's been that process. This is the food that we have now at Che. You guys should all come. It's in Nichols Hills. That's great. At the same time, again, life's been tough. This is the email I got right after I lost. So I'm like, hey, you know, Barack Obama and I, like, basically, we're like brothers now, right? You know, the same story with George H.W. Bush. You know, we hear a lot about how he actually lost his first race too. All of it has always been about saying yes to community. You know, I'm not a chef. I just like food, and I think the community should get it. A lot of it, you know, I think education is important, so I wanted to be part of helping to open John Rex. Running for office in county government and public services is important, so I wanted to do that. So last, I'm gonna go freestyle. I'm gonna go over my time. At the end of the day, all I'm hoping is that if you guys ever get a chance, and you're asking yourself how, I hope you can say yes to yourselves. The community needs you to do all kinds of amazing things that you can do. I'm struggling a lot. You guys can do much better, so I say yes to you.
Thank you so much, Daniel. We need to learn to say yes more. I love it. And we'll have to invite your wife to come speak. That would be fun. I'd love to hear about her designing her own wedding dress. Well, next up is Corey Hall. Corey Hall relocated to Oklahoma City 7 years ago and has spent that time as a social worker, specializing in services to the homeless community in the metro area. She is currently on staff at Frontline Church downtown and Hope House OKC. She's also on the board of Be the Change, a nonprofit partner of the Homeless Alliance. You can usually find her reading a book or writing at a local coffee shop downtown. Her passion is city engagement and advocacy, helping people to fix the faults and focus on the future of the place they call home. Help us welcome Corey Hall.
Yeah.
This chair is made for very tiny people. Let's do this, man. All right, a quick bit about me for the 14 of you in this room I've never met. My name is Corey Hall. I relocated to OKC by way of Germany. I come from a military family. That's them right there. I call us the Fobamas. One of us, I'm sure, is going to run for office one day. Each of my siblings was born in a different place. Each of us went to high school in a different place. My youngest sister had her prom on the beaches in Hawaii, my sister in a gym in Texas, and me here at this castle in the middle of the German forest. The two questions people get asked most when they meet someone for the first time is, where are you from? Which is a hard question for a military brat. And what do you do? Which is a hard question for a person like me. So it can be a little hard to explain what I do. I like to stay engaged, which is a nice way of saying I'm really busy. I have a few jobs, as you can see down on the bottom. I work for Frontline Church full-time and a few nonprofits. I work for Dead Center Film Festival, and I'm a spoken word artist, so that's kind of what I do with my time. It can be a little hard to talk about that because my life is kind of all over the place. But over time, I've realized that what I do can be boiled down to one thing, and that's advocacy. I speak up for those who don't have a voice, and I open the door for people who do have a voice to speak for themselves. That's what I do. I love it. I advocate for women. I advocate for intentional community with your neighbors, for support of the arts, for the homeless, and for transition-aged youth. And mostly I advocate for our city by calling those who call it home to fight for its betterment. A lot of what I do is simply helping people to care for the plight of others through sharing their story. Advocacy through storytelling is a powerful tool to highlight a cause or a need. Statistics help people engage their heads, but stories help people engage their heart. So when I was thinking about what I wanted to talk about today, ways to help people engage our state and city better, I think the best story to tell is about a statue. E.W. Marlin never played it small, so in 1925, when he decided he wanted a statue in Ponca City, he commissioned 12 models from 12 sculptors and went on a nationwide tour to get feedback in order to decide which model to use for his statue. From Ponca City to Boston, visitors were invited to vote on the final design of the statue, honoring the pioneer woman, not that pioneer woman. Although I'm sure there will probably be a statue of her in the near future. I'm talking about the true pioneering woman of the plains, sailing over the continued rising tensions of racial divide in a post-land run and post-Tulsa race riot, Oklahoma. Marlin had the grandiose idea that he could unite the state with a statue. He said all races, all creeds, all nationalities gave their best and bravest women, and he wanted to honor them. Some friends and I took a trip to Ponca City to see the pioneer woman for ourselves. In 1930, Patrick Hurley, then Secretary of War, said of the pioneer woman statue on her unveiling, "This tribute to her memory will keep the fundamental principles of her character constantly before the people of Oklahoma. Every citizen who passes this way and looks upon this memorial will be strengthened in the conviction that this state shall be kept worthy of the woman whom this bronze statue commemorates. Woman has never been given her just place in history as a pioneer, an educator, a builder, or a leader. This is probably due to the fact that most pages of history are written by men and about men. We have reached that period in civilization where we are fair enough to accord woman the honor of the preeminent part she has in taking place in the shaping of the destinies of mankind." Damn right. And this is the 1930s. I think it's fair to say we are still trying to see women given their due place in history. Marlin wanted the statue to model these 12 characteristics: a true pioneer, one who ventures into the unknown, a trailblazer who leads the way. So my hope is that the citizens of Oklahoma City strive to model these as well. We live in a city that was built on the backs of displaced native tribes, of cultures who have suffered immense loss. We live in a city where 17% of our citizens live below the poverty line. We live in a city where we are last in the things we should be first in and first in the things we should be last in. How can we change that? I think one place to look is to women in our city past and present who have embodied the spirit of the pioneer woman, like Patience Ladding, the first female mayor of Oklahoma City, a true pioneer who ventured into the unknown, a trailblazer who led the way. Like Claire Looper, the venerable civil rights activist who led the sit-in movement in Oklahoma City that sparked a wave of change, who was arrested 26 times protesting segregation and fighting for equality, whose legacy is still felt and seen in so many ways today. Or, like people in the present, my friend Kadria, who was the first person to leave her country and move to the US, who took on the task of learning English, her sixth language, in order to help our community have a better understanding of her culture and religion by teaching cooking classes at the Turkish Raindrop House in OKC. Or my neighbors, the ladies at Hope House, the transitional living program I work with, women who have committed to seeing their families lifted out of homelessness, trauma, addiction, and poverty. I get to open my door to their visits and my heart to their stories and watch them break down barriers every single day for their families. My friends and I stood at the base of the statue, encouraging each of us to model these traits as we pursue starting our own businesses and nonprofits, committing to live them out and seeing our city embrace its storied past and envision a stunning future. I know that we can end homelessness here. I know that we can offer kids a robust education. I know that we can make this city's treasures accessible to all its citizens, not just those with means. I want us to see this as a place caring about and worth caring for, to be trailblazers who fix Oklahoma City's faults and forge new paths for its future, to be the innovators, the advocates, the good neighbors, to see ourselves as a part of this beautifully messy story, to be strengthened in the conviction that this state shall be worthy of the woman that bronze statue commemorates, to be the pioneers. Thank you. Thank you guys.
Thank you so much, Corey. And just like others will be sharing her social media, we shared a little bit already on Instagram. We'll be sharing all of these again as we recap tonight. And she had that quote from Sam in his book. You can actually buy that outside at the shop at Plenty. So just a little plug there. Okay, we are ready to wrap up, and we have saved the best for the last, maybe? Laura says, stop living up expectations. This is Laura Messinet. She is a partner at Elemental Coffee at 8th and Hudson in Midtown. She was a founder of the popular H&A Night Market and a co-founder in the new artist collective Factory Obscura, building immersive art experiences for Oklahoma City and the region. She proudly serves on the Ralph Ellison Foundation Board, Oklahoma Visual Arts Coalition Board, and Midtown Association Board. She is into people, delicious food and beverage, local everything, supporting female candidates, and creating the world she wants to live in. Her worldview is based on a friendly universe, and she has come to question everything she believes and everything you believe. She says her favorite people are the open-hearted with a willingness to grow and change. Her family, along with their old dog, love living, growing, and changing in the bubble not far from here. Let us welcome Laura Messinet.
In 1995, after 3 years of living in France, moving away like so many people do right after school, I decided to come back to Oklahoma City knowing that it was temporary. And after a decade or so of believing that I was moving on to a cooler place, I realized that Oklahoma City was a place that I wanted to stay. And I started choosing Oklahoma City and choosing to make it a place that I wanted to live. When you think about the world that you want to build, there are lots of people that help to do that. And there's a big portion of people who have to be out there stating what it is that we need to change. And so, the protests that happen every day and the organizations that work to fight the things that need fighting are a big part of the change that we all need to see. But there's another way also, and something that has to happen in parallel, and that is building worlds that we want to live in. Books and movies have been creating spaces for a long time, places where we would like to go and maybe we think are more appealing than our world, but still give us space to face our fears and meet our challenges like we do out here. Another world that you can enter is in Santa Fe at Meow Wolf, and this is very closely related to what we're doing here in Oklahoma City. This new emerging economy, based on experience, based on people wanting to go places and do things rather than buy things, is something that we're connecting ourselves to here in Oklahoma City. Disney in 1967 built his Magic Kingdom and invited a bunch of people to come in. And he wants you to visit his world, and he wants you to leave your dollars behind. But we're looking now at a new economy where you are asked to interact and participate. Burning Man is a really well-known participatory community. Happens every year out in the middle of nowhere. A city that didn't exist comes together and exists for a week. And it is solely based on participants who attend. And so every activity that happens there, every camp that is built there, and everything that you have to do there is because of the people who go to that city. It asks you also to suspend the rules that you normally follow in your default world and adopt a new way of being together and creating things together. Factory Obscura is a local arts collective founded in 1927, about 2017, as a B Corporation. So we are a public benefit corporation. There are 5 local co-founders working on this project together. We exist to pay artists to work, to pay them thriving wages, and to build worlds that you want to inhabit with us. Our first project was an immersive performance-based dinner that was also a fundraiser for our first immersive build that we did. So in a warehouse that had been empty, we brought everything into the space that we needed to host the dinner at midnight with dancers and performance and a beautiful candlelit meal for about 103 people that funded our next project, which was called Chit. That's all in 20 seconds. So we had the luck of meeting Kelsey Carper along the way and of joining forces with Current Studio. Thanks, Daniel, for your awesome grant. We were able to make our first project as a collective in Current Studio. We built 1,200 square feet with using 100 community volunteers and just really proved the concept, proved the idea that people want this kind of experience in Oklahoma City, and that 20,000 of them were willing to come in just that 3 months that we were open. And so from there, we knew that we needed to build something that was going to be bigger, something that was going to last longer, and something that was going to generate revenue, because we are a corporation, we're not a nonprofit, and we intend to pay artists and pay them as they work. So we got some investors who were willing to loan us some money to get started on this project, and we moved it to a building at 1522 South Robinson, just north of the river. We have built 3,000 square feet this time of fully immersive experience. It is separated into 4 separate experiences, but this is a common room that everyone starts in when they arrive in the space. This is our parlor. In the space, everyone is encouraged to touch everything, open everything, really explore the materials and the experiences and interact. Once you get through the parlor, you're going to have 4 doors to choose from. Those are based on tarot card themes, and you're going to choose from Empress, Moon, Tower, or Death, and hopefully you're going to choose all 4 one at a time. I'm going to talk just a little bit about the creative process that our artists go through to make this happen. We came to this team with the idea of creating Beyond, celebrating this time of year when the veil that separates worlds is supposedly thinner, and you can see what lies beyond or imagine what lies beyond. And so we came with that idea, and we knew that we wanted to create 4 separate experiences, but we let the artists choose which themes we were going to explore in those 4 different rooms. And so Empress in the tarot sense represents creativity and birth. That is the Empress right there, if you can see her very well. Moon represents illusion. Tower is change, and then Death is transformation. And it is truly a transformative experience. If you haven't been, you should really go take a look. This creative process is unique to us, and we had a lot of help from Meow Wolf starting out, but we really have created our own processes and changed them as we go. So coming up next, our bigger proof of concept as we roll towards our final destination. We are opening a project at the Womb. We just announced it a few weeks ago, maybe you heard. The first phase of this will open in March as a gift shop and an interactive window and access to the King's Fountain that Wayne Coyne left behind. And then we'll open this in September, the full project itself. But really what we're doing is we're creating places where we want to be, where we hope that you want to be. We're creating space for artists to be who they are in our community, to be valued. And so, we hope that you'll come and join us in this thing that we're making for you.
Thank you so much, Laura, for sharing that. That looks incredible. I know I can't wait, and I hope we can invite the entire city. Well, let's give all of our speakers one more big round of applause. It's such a chore, but a labor of love to put together a presentation like this, and you refine, and you choose a topic, and you refine again, and it's a whole thing. And so we're really, really grateful for all that you've done, speakers, but we also get to say a huge thank you because of a special sponsorship from Castle Falls Restaurant that Robin Jones mentioned. So each speaker will be receiving a $100 gift certificate to Castle Falls, and they want to say thanks, and they've actually committed to do this for the next 4 Pechakucha nights, so we think that's outstanding. And I mentioned earlier our partnership with Oklahoma Creative. Of course, we are loved and great friends with Automobile Alley, the district here in downtown Oklahoma City partnership and Anthem Brewing. If your company or a company that you know well wants to help us grow Pechakucha and make it even bigger and more impactful, we would welcome some communication about that. You can email us or hit us up on social media, talk to Brittany or I or Tyler or Tracy, and we can make that happen. I do want to also thank again Plenty for the host, for hosting our event, making us feel welcome. And I do want to encourage them as they move towards zero waste. All of tonight's disposables are 100% combustible. I knew I was going to do that. I knew I was going to do it. I wrote down compostable. I'm sure they are combustible. I don't know. So as Plenty moves towards zero waste, all of tonight's disposables are compostable, and they will responsibly do that. We're really grateful for your leadership. Thank you.